Hey folks, how we doing today? It's me again, Shannon Fox here, Devoted Patriots 2 channel, and I have got a video clip here for you. I'm going to have to do a little bit of reading. Let me grab my goggles real quick. This is about Epstein, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, a lady named Miss Ransom, who is the victim here, Richard Branson, and the sex tapes. Now, I knew Jeffrey Epstein had video recordings and video footage of everybody that come to his different mansions, including there in New York and Palm Beach, and to his island, and most likely on the plane as well. All this stuff has been used by the government to surveil anybody that he is in affiliation with. I believe at one point when they caught Jeffrey Epstein doing the dirty, instead of locking him up behind it, they spanked him on the wrist and told him he had to continue, but he had to come up with some certain clients that they wanted. For example, Mossad, maybe even Bill Clinton. I'm sure some of these people got honeypotted because the government had it designed that way, because the government wanted to secure, I guess, capture certain politicians, maybe even certain top brass people of high influence in this country. And so I believe that Jeffrey Epstein was an asset of the government, and I think that's what we're finding out more and more. They used him like a tool, kind of like they did Barry Seal, if you know who that is, involving MENA conspiracies and all the flights with the drugs from Central America into Arkansas. But that's another story. But truth be known, we're finding out now Hillary Clinton's foundation paid money to cover up for Jeffrey Epstein's situation because Hillary knew Bill was involved. Now, there's a ton of details that have come out just this week alone. I have to let you know, Benny Johnson has probably got the best take on this out of everybody I've watched. He is staying on top of it. He's cranked out several videos a day on every little driven drab information that we're finding out. But there's no doubt about it. Bill Clinton is guilty. Andrew is guilty. Richard Branson is guilty. Just my opinion at this point, but that's what it's looking like. And anybody like Kevin Spacey or David Copperfield, who had passed, Michael Jackson, who had passed sexual allegations against him, they were hanging out with either one of these two clowns. They were probably in on it too. Now, I've got lots of reading to do for you folks, but this is very informative stuff. If you haven't heard it, this is pretty much the latest batch of information that has came out. There are now pictures, and they believe there's videos with Clinton's face in them as well. At this point, that's alleged because we haven't seen them, or we just, I guess at this point it's hearsay. But there's a catch to this whole story, which makes this really interesting. And like I said, Jeffrey Epstein was an asset of the government, and you got to know if they were using Jeffrey Epstein in order to entrap people. Say the FBI or the CIA was using him to entrap people, and these children, young girls, were a part of this whole process, whether they knew it or not. They were probably under investigation too, just to make sure they didn't screw up the game plan, because they were part of a psyop. That's what I would call it. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of reading here, folks. There's actually a lot of reading here. Ooh, let me clean these things real quick. This is another batch of documents from a defamation lawsuit related to Jeffrey Epstein were released on Monday morning. The Gateway Pundit obtained the 17 new documents on Monday, and they are explosive. The new document, which were revealed by the reporter, revealed that there are alleged sex tapes of Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Richard Branson. And Richard Branson's a billionaire, if you don't know. Says, when my friend had sexual intercourse with Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Richard Branson, sex tapes were in fact filed on each separate occasion by Jeffrey. So Jeffrey was cataloging these things, I'm guessing for blackmail ransom reasons. This lady's name is, the witness is Miss Sarah Ransom. Kind of a strange name, considering they were using blackmail tactics and maybe even holding the information ransom. Now, I don't know how credible the lady is, but she claims to have USB ports, USBs for backup for her own safety. So I don't have any reason to doubt her at this point. says Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Richard Branson faces all clearly identifiable in the alleged sex tapes. Thank God she managed to get a hold of some of the footage of the film sex tapes, which clearly identified the faces of Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Branson having sexual intercourse with her. Dang, folks. Now, this is actually one of several pages. You can go over here to Gateway Pundit, and this article and the very next article have several different links to documents, photographs, and a little more detailed information. I won't even say the first one. Read that line right there, folks. I'm not even going to repeat that. Miss Ransom says she also had to have sexual intercourse with Clinton in Epstein's New York mansion, just off the Fifth Avenue, on numerous occasions. It's the New York mansion we spoke about yesterday. I too was forced by Epstein to visit regularly, and if I didn't turn up, he would personally come and find me wherever I was hiding. It was bewildering how Epstein always seemed to know where I was if I didn't turn up at his New York residence. Of course he knew. The FBI would call him and tell him, "Hey, look, here's your girls. They're over here." It says, when my friend had sexual intercourse with Clinton, Prince Andrew, and Richard Branson, sex tapes were, in fact, filmed on each separate occasion. Let's see here. It says, thank God she was able to get the footage. After this, frustratingly enough, Epstein was not seen in any of the footage, but he was clever like that. Epstein didn't actually probably put himself on film. And you credit this information from Technofog. Technofog is one of the people I follow over on Twitter. Got a great channel over there. It says, according to the witness Sarah Ransom, Hillary Clinton sent her henchmen, I'm guessing FBI guys, to intimidate her friend after she went to the police in 2008 to report she was being forced to have intercourse with Bill Clinton, Richard Branson, and Prince Andrew on video. She was made to feel like a dirty woman and a liar and wasn't taken seriously. Sarah Ransom said of her friend, a couple of months later, she was then approached by Special Agent Forces. Special Agent Forces sent me directly to Hillary Clinton herself in order to protect her presidential campaign of 2008. They heavily intimidated her, roughed her up. Luckily, she took photos as evidence and was then forced to sign a confidentiality agreement, like a non-disclosure agreement, which ensures that she can never come forward publicly implicating her husband, Hillary's husband. So they give her basically, probably send in some a tactical team with a lawyer. Sign here, please. It says, also according to the witness, her friend was given a substantial payout directly from the Clinton Foundation to keep her quiet. They threw her some money and said, this is what you're getting out of the deal. Otherwise, the other choices you ain't going to like. She was then given a substantial payout directly from the Clinton Foundation to keep her quiet. Wonder if they wrote her a check. I bet that we could find that out. She is 1,000% certain that the FBI did a cover-up, and she has individual names of Hillary's special agent officers involved in the that was intimidating her. Ooh, that's good news. She was then forced against her will to try to sign a legally binding confidential agreement on Hillary's behalf for her eternal silence. If she breaks the agreement, she is dead, the witness said. Wow. Apologize. I have no reason to doubt this stuff. Now, this is an alleged story because it is not the person directly. It is the friend of the person. This lady here has probably seen some of the video footage if she claims all this stuff to be the truth. The witnesses allege she has footage of Clinton, Branson, Prince Andrew, sex tapes backed on several USB sticks, and says she has a kill switch just in case something happens to her. What she means by a kill switch is she's got several copies, got some of them in places where if she just disappears or comes up dead, they end up getting mailed to probably several news organizations or get uploaded directly to the internet. That would work as well. It says, unfortunately, I cannot send you the footage without her consent due to the massive consequences of her safety, but I can confirm that I do have footage in my possession. I have backed up the footage on several USB sticks and have surely sent them to and securely sent them to various different locations throughout Europe with only one other person close to me knowing where the locations are, just in case anything happens to me before the footage is released. Dang, that's that insurance policy, folks. Crazy. Says the woman also alleged that she had consensual sex with Trump, and find out later that these baseless accusations have been fully redacted because they are simply false and have no merit, says Trump spokesman Stephen Chung. And as far as the details on that, we will go ahead and wait till we find out a little bit more about that. Now, if you see right here, all these notices are basically the documentation, pieces of information, fine details of what they have on each and every one of these dockets. You could actually go through them and read each and every one and maybe pull up some details that we didn't discuss today. But it says in July 2022, the Gateway Pundits lawyers, Rendaza Legal Group, along with Gateway Pundits General Counsel John Burns, filed a motion to intervene in the Giuffre versus Maxwell case. And Giuffre is the original plaintiff that accused Jeffrey Epstein of all these horrendous charges. This is a case in the United States court. The Gateway Pundit filed a motion to intervene in this Giuffre versus Maxwell case in the United States District Court for the Southern District of New York. As the media intervener, the Gateway Pundit requests the court to unseal all records identifying Epstein's sex client list. Now, so basically at this point, the Gateway Pundit is like doing is asking for an appellate brief, basically like a Freedom of Information Act type request from the courts to unseal information. It is basically a legal way to try to obtain information, and they have done that, and so we're probably waiting on results of that because it says, see here, it says the opening appellate brief. The appellate brief would be basically asking for all the information at this point. It's getting good, folks. Maybe we'll get some resolution out of this. Maybe we'll find out who those couple of redacted names that are obviously working directly in our government that are on this list. You know, there was 178 names originally on the list. Now it's down to 150. They say several people on the list were not the perps, and so the list gets smaller and smaller at that rate. And I'm glad for that. I think it does need to be sorted through, figure out who the really bad guys were in the situation, who were helping with this trafficking, and who were the Johns and who were the girls. Who was financing this stuff, how these kids were ending up in this situation. All these answers are out there. The FBI has it all. And at this point, with all this stuff coming out, if the right people ask the right questions, get the Freedom of Information Act request going out, file for court documents involving things like the Epstein trial, this is how you get transparency and resolution to this. I think anybody that was involved in that, including Bill Clinton, ought to spend the rest of their life in prison while their family goes into bankruptcy because they need to pay each and every one of these victims 1,000-fold for every transgression that they laid against them. I think these people that were evil and part of this maniacal mess, I think God will have his way with them in the end. But while they're here on planet Earth, they deserve to suffer. Just my opinion. But they deserve to go to prison and be handled. Well, I won't say that. I'll leave that one alone. I just hope they go to prison, and I hope they're held accountable in every way, including financially. These girls should never have to work another day in their life for the things they were made to do with these old, nasty old men. That's all I got for you folks. There are a couple more articles out here on the Gateway Pundit involving, and the Daily Mail, involving this Epstein situation, but I don't really want to get into the photos too much. But it is definitely crazy that Hillary Clinton is now involved in trying to keep this thing under wraps. And we just got another breaking report as of 5:45 p.m. Jeffrey Epstein's sex slave turned accomplice missing following release of the documents. I had heard earlier today that some computers and things have recently disappeared behind people wanting that information. Now, I'm guessing this girl here is the one we were talking about. Jeffrey Epstein, sex slave turned accomplice missing following the release of documents. It says Nadia Marchenko, the elusive former associate of the disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, has vanished from her Upper East Side home following the release of the court documents related to Epstein's scandalous activities. She may have just disappeared, or she may have been disappeared. She's probably running scared at this point. Nadia also is known as Nadia Marcinkova, is a former commercial pilot of a Gulfstream and a Gulfstream girl. Marcinko is a Slovakian-born pilot, flight instructor, and CEO of Aviloop, an aviation website. She has 3 rating certificates, including various Gulfstream business jets. Marcinko was brought to the United States from Slovakia by Epstein when she was 15 years old. Jesus. Jeffrey Epstein had reportedly referred her as his sex slave. She had spent years by his side, even traveled on his private plane known as the Lolita Express, which was notorious for transporting the young girls. Boy, this is sad. Said it remains unclear whether Marchenko continued to serve as Epstein's pilot after obtaining her FAA certification as commercial pilot and flight instructor, but she has been accused of participating in the sexual abuse of the young girls, probably recruiting them and procuring victims. And although her lawyers have denied these allegations, asserting that she was a victim herself, I believe she probably was a victim, and that she probably learned how to be like Jeffrey Epstein for whatever reason. I can't explain for people. Wouldn't even begin to try, but it's crazy to think it's bad enough that a man is trying to take advantage of these women, but for men to use women to get young girls to let their guards down, put their guard down because they're being approached by women. Now that is the most horrible thing to me. I can't believe they participated in it. I'm talking about this lady here and Miss Maxwell. Just a sickening situation. Says Miss Marcinkova was specifically identified by the U.S. Attorney's Office for Southern District of Florida as a potential co-conspirator of Epstein in a non-prosecution agreement it executed with Mr. Epstein as a part of his guilty plea. She probably run off, folks. She has relevant information because she observed the recruitment of underage girls and, in fact, participated in doing the things to the minors. She was also on numerous flights with defendants, in contradiction to defendants' testimony, according to the court document. She was granted immunity from prosecution in 2008 as part of a Epstein non-prosecution agreement with Florida's authorities. Despite the controversy surrounding her involvement with Epstein, she remained loyal to him and visited him numerous times while he's in jail. That was one of the things that Jeffrey Epstein wanted as part of his plea agreement, was for her not to be charged. I remember that. I didn't realize she was the one until we read this together, but I remember that now. It says, in recent days, she has been absent from her longtime residence in the Upper East Side of New York. According to her neighborhood sources, she has not been seen for the past 3 days. coinciding with the release of the court documents. I haven't seen her at all. Marcinko testimony in which she invoked her right against self-incrimination 42 times was revealed as a part of the documents made public from the settlement defamation case brought by Virginia Joffrey against Ghislaine Maxwell, a close associate of Epstein who was convicted of sex trafficking. Nadia Marcinko's current whereabouts and her response to the document revealing remain unknown. Now, we can speculate where she's at, but let's just say she's disappeared. Now, she may pop up at a later date in front of a news camera, spilling the beans. Being the fact that she looks like involved in this, she probably found a way out of the country. So that way she wouldn't have to deal with the possible prosecutions that could come from other directions because of her involvement. Because the immunity agreement for her only applies to certain things. Doesn't apply to everything. So different times and dates, her involvement, they can wrangle her on that. So I'm sure she pulled a jackrabbit. She took off. If not, maybe somebody is cleaning up their mess. Not to mention any names like Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton. Nobody like that. Wouldn't mention those names. But at any rate, folks, it does look like the Clintons have been not only doing the nasty, but have been cleaning up each other's messes for since beginning of time, it looks like. That's all I got for you, folks. Like, subscribe, and share. Everybody have a great day. Sorry to bring you this sad, depressing news, but it does look like the truth is starting to come out one drip at a time. Jeffrey Epstein's death was not the death of him. Megyn Kelly said the other day that we'll be hearing more from Jeffrey Epstein, and I assume it has to be the sex tapes. It has to be video footage. Maybe Epstein has got a kill switch type amount of information he'll be having released by a third-party individual. That's always a possibility as well. Jeffrey Epstein, I'm sure, just like the government agencies were collecting dirt through Jeffrey Epstein, and these girls obviously saved some of the dirt for themselves. I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein had backups, not just what they found in all his different mansions and on the island as far as tapes and things of that nature, but I'm sure he probably had a backup of a lot of this stuff just for his own health reasons. And to say that stuff will never see the light of day, it's hard to say, folks. But if it does, I'll definitely keep you informed. Everybody have a good evening. Like, subscribe, and share. Vote to Patriots. These sickos are going down. Hopefully we can get some resolution out of this involving some handcuffs and a whole lot of reparations for these poor children. Over now, folks.